I will fucking, Steve, when I tell you, throw up, pass out, and die if this is something that happens. I'll be so happy.
That's great.
All right.
I think that's the perfect way to start.
Carrie's
gonna pass out, throw up, and die if this happens.
Because it's just beautiful.
That is the
it
power
makes me
of networking.
so happy. I know. I make cry.
Well, that's what we're doing here today. I'm here with Carrie Goldstein. She's the co-founder of Suffolk Networking Professionals. Carrie, I think that's the perfect way to kind of start it off because.
What, that I'm going to throw up and die?
Well, not that, but the fact that you're going to throw up and die because of a connection that you just made with the previous guest who you guys overlapped.
Amazing.
And there were a lot of, you helped him in a short period of time.
But that's why I do this. Like, it makes me so happy, like, emotionally happy. And it has nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. This is helping 2 other people and getting out there. And if I didn't come here, that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
And I think every move you make is cause and effect.
So what is Suffolk Networking Professionals? SNP.
SNP. Do you want like the background or?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can give the quick background and what is it?
Okay. So SNP, Suffolk Networking Professionals, is something that Russ and I thought to pursue about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and we have messy thoughts. Everybody has messy thoughts. So we're like, yeah, this is never going to happen. But you know what? There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into this. We had no idea what we were doing. Sometimes we still don't, but we're getting the hang of it. Everything's kind of working out organically between Russ and I always say that it's kind of like yin and yang. Mm-hmm. He's the analytics, and I am, what I said before, anything that's left over. Like, that's me.
I said it to David when he was walking out, that you guys are the CEO, COO relationship.
Yeah.
Like, he is the analytics, the operations, and you're the driver.
I mean, our parts are filled perfectly.
Yeah.
Russ is a godsend. I love that kid, man. Like, he keeps me grounded. He is not afraid to tell me that idea sucks, Carrie, and I can either agree or disagree with him. But we have a great relationship. Like I said, we didn't know where this was going. It just, I guess from my experience, just networking for decades, I guess. Like, God, I'm old, so yeah, decades now. 2 tops people now. I know it works, and I know what doesn't work, and I think not bad, but I think different. We wanted to go different. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different personalities, as we all know, out there, and I think there's different groups for different types of people, different strokes for different folks, and I sound like my dad, and I'm turning into him very slowly. But yeah, different strokes for different folks. Like, one group may be good for Joe, and one may be totally bad for Amy. And I think I was taking all of those elements, and I wanted to bring it into one. Mm. And I think we kind of succeeded at that. We are taking our events to different places. We're kind of steering away from standing, around in a bar. Just for, I guess, health reasons. We also focus on a lot of health and wellness as well. So I think that's another aspect that you don't really see. We had something at Revolve Cycle over in Hop Hog. We had X Golf in Comac. We're having puppy yoga again for the second time, which was a sellout. So I think with those little things splashed in between and then our big events, I think it just gives people something to look forward to. Fresh faces, new connections. So you learn from your mistakes, Mm-hmm. I learned from my mistakes, joining the wrong group or surrounding myself with the wrong people. I wanted to get like-minded people in the room together. And I think that's the goal of any networking group, but I think sometimes you need an edge. Mm-hmm. And we're still finding it, but I think we have, it's kind of sharp enough right now.
In my opinion,
mm-hmm.
your edge is the different events. Your edge is bringing people together, not just for the purpose of business, although that's a driving force for most people that are there, but to do something different other than just standing around a bar.
Right.
I think that's a huge edge. I think it's very clear also. Like, it's a nice, sharp edge.
Well, Steve, thank you for noticing my sharp edge. But like I said, organically, it came together. All this is organic. Mm-hmm. I got a really it happened twice actually, which is kind of cool. I got a phone call from a colleague that probably haven't spoken to in a year, and this happened a couple of weeks ago, and she didn't just text me, she called me and said, I want to remind you, Carrie, of a conversation we had a year ago, how you mentioned this networking event to me, or you mentioned SMP to me, or you had an idea of what you wanted, and you said, Melissa, I'm doing this. And a year later, it's going. Mm-hmm. And she said she wanted just to call me to tell me that she sees everything I'm doing. And that just melts my heart. Because people don't do that anymore. People don't pick up the damn phone and they don't call you, they text. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she called me, it really just touched my heart. And it made me really happy. And
is this a business owner friend or just a friend?
Business owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is having a direct impact on her life. She sees it.
Which is crazy, because, I became a mom. I'm like, great, I'm in charge now. Like, it's sort of like this is really happening, just from a little seed of an idea to something that just like really gets me right in the heart. So
mm-hmm. You mentioned taking different ideas and lessons learned from other networking events mm-hmm. and other networking groups and mistakes that you've made in the past and putting them all together into something unique. Mm-hmm. What are some of those values or ideas that came together to create S&P?
I think as being discreet as I can, I'm my own person, and I think it just wasn't a fit for me. So sometimes the rules or the regulations or even the group that, that specific networking group would, kind of like bring together, you can tell when you walk in a room, if this is people you want to do business with. Mm. And just by happenstance, that wasn't my group. I tried, always close my eyes and jump, and I just do things, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, all right, fine. I never died from failure, so I just keep going,
That's a common theme, a common conversation that I have, is the resilience. I think I mentioned it with David, who you just met on the way out. There's something to being able to, like you said, you've never died from failure.
Right.
That's a huge mindset. I mean, I'm still, as a business owner, scared of failure. I'm still...
I'm scared of it. I just know I'm not going to die from it.
You still get stuck sometimes on
Correct.
it. But then you have to turn to yourself and say, you're not going to die if this person says no.
I mean, these internal dialogues are extremely exhausting because they happen on the daily.
Yeah.
But they have to be had. It's if you're not honest with yourself, then it is. And I'm no spring chicken anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's the truth. I have to own it. And I've had years to learn. I'm still learning. I'm still learning every single day, and every time I meet somebody new, I'm learning. So. Mm-hmm. And I hope that I'm teaching them something as well. So that's why I love what I do.
Is there something out there that you're attempting to learn right now? Or are you just taking lessons from everything?
Pretty much taking lessons from everything. I can't do one thing at a time. That's my downfall. I do 90. So I'm learning from each person I meet. I'm learning from relationships that I have, whether they're romantic, friendship, any of that. You look back and there's so many things that you want to change and you can't. Mm-hmm. So just change now and just do better, so that's really it. And I just take one day at a time. That's the key, I think. One day at a time, whether it's with business or personal or anything. Just one day at a time. And you can't promise yourself anything until you see that, that's it.
One day at a time.
That's it.
Do you do anything to... You're a high-octane person.
You think?
You are. I don't know if you know this, but you're a high-octane person. And... do you have any issues with slowing down, with separating from it at times?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. It's a battle. If I need a mental health day, mm-hmm. I'll sit on my giant love sack that I have. I don't even want to put the price tag on it because people think it's obnoxious.
They're so good.
But it's a game changer, this pillow. But no, I will sit on there and I won't do anything. But I need to not do anything because that gives me double energy for the next day.
Well, you can use the analogy of the gym. right?
Yes,
if you're
absolutely.
going to the gym 7 days a week and breaking down your muscle tissue every single day and not giving yourself time and rest and protein to recover, then you're just breaking down what's already broken down, and you're not actually building back up. So the
Right.
muscle's not going to get any more resilient. It's not
Correct.
going to get any stronger.
Yep.
And so, has there been any times where you were going 100 and there was no stopping, and it had a negative impact?
Absolutely. This was my drinking.
Okay.
It was my drinking. This is where I have this thing that I found that I wanted to read, if that's all right. Can I
Yeah,
do that?
please.
Okay. Because these quotes, I know some people think they're cheesy, but you can just outgrow drinking. You don't need to hit rock bottom. Oh my God, I need my glasses. Let me start over. You can just outgrow drinking. You don't need to hit rock bottom or be an alcoholic in order to change your mind and carve out a different path in life. So that is something that people ask me, Carrie, why aren't you drinking? I want something different for myself. I want to be the best version of myself. I have a 7, well, he'll be 8, George, the most amazing little boy in the world. And I wanted him to look at me and not see me with a glass of wine. Or I don't want to go out on the weekends. I want to sit home with him and watch the same movie, Zootopia, 10 million times. That's what fills my soul. It is a good movie. Good soundtrack. But, that was something. Now, for me to even talk about this, I think when this airs, Steve, I'll probably be at a year. I wanted to keep it under wraps because I wasn't sure how it was going to go.
She said at a year. How long are you sober right now?
10 months. 10 months.
That's great.
Yeah, I just woke up one day and I'm like, I'm sick of my own crap.
So that was going to be my question in what you wrote was it rock bottom or was it just a decision?
It was a decision.
That's good.
It was a complete decision. It was a Sunday. I don't even know what time. I just decided at that moment. And I think, well, no, that's wrong. I know it was the best decision I ever made. My mental health, my physique for almost 50 years old, like I take pride in those things, and that's what I concentrate on, and my son, and my family. But so there doesn't have to be a rock bottom. You just want a different path, and I am the best version of myself now. And I said to somebody the other day, I'm like, I'm glad you did not know me. I'm glad you know this version of Carrie, because I'm proud of her.
But I'm sure there's people who've known both versions of Carrie that are still proud in this moment.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. And I thought that I wasn't going to, people think, oh, you stop drinking. It's not, things aren't as fun. Dude, things are much more fun than I could ever imagine. Like, any boneheaded thing that I do or say, I own it, and it's me. It's not like, that Marlowe that did it to me. I own the boneheadedness, and that's cool for me. Like, I like that because it's bringing out my true self.
Yeah, that was going to be what I said. It sounds like you enjoy being fully in control of you.
Yes.
And taking ownership of your decisions. And
Right.
being like, this is me. This is who I am, and I've decided to do this. And it's not coming from a place of inebriation.
Correct. And I think this is why SMP is where it is. I don't think I could have done it. Or this would not have happened if I didn't stop. And it's just my motivation, everything, just the switch
Why do you
flipped.
think it wouldn't have happened?
Because I wasn't as motivated, I feel like.
Okay.
It just slowed me down, and I knew I was built for more. I always knew I was built for more. And it just took me 49 years to figure it out. But I figured it out, and to me, that's the most important thing. And I don't like to preach this. I just want people to see that I'm genuinely happy. Like, this is the happiest I've been. And looking back and seeing, my career in sales, whatever aspect or whatever I was selling, everything is falling in line. And SMP, my friendships, my relationships. You always say you wish you did it sooner, but now sooner, so.
Here we are.
Correct.
Right? I say
And
it
who
all
would
the
have thought
time.
that I would have been on a podcast this time last year? Hell no. And that was another thing. I didn't want to really be out there. I didn't feel so great about myself because it just made me feel like crap.
I feel that.
Yeah,
from
and now
time to time.
I used to walk outside with a hat on all the time, and now I notice that I don't, and I want to be on camera, sort of, not really, but you got to do what you got to do.
You want S&P to succeed. You want to find the right people to join S&P, and this is the thing
More than anything in the world.
that is allowing you to do it. So you may not be like, oh, so thrilled to be on camera when we bring the camera by and go to Bull Smith's and film.
It's
a
really
video.
it's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not.
I have anxiety, and then I won't watch it because that's just mortifying enough. And it's
So then why do you do it?
Because it's like taking one for the team, I guess, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm doing it, and I'm getting it out there, and then you do what you want with it.
So to you, it's like a noble pursuit in a way. You're doing it for the greater good.
Yes, Steve.
Okay.
I am.
That's cool.
But I still hate it, but
that's cool. That's a cool way of looking at it, because most people, what we work with and that we're doing videos with, are doing it for themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that either. I do this podcast for myself.
Right.
I get to speak to great people like you and learn, and it changes my perspective a lot. Like I talk to people who are way further along in business and in life than I am, and I try to glean lessons, and then I get great content out of it. And I try to give that to other people as well. But like it's a selfish pursuit in a way.
It's crazy because it's noble, it's selfish at the same time. This heals me a little bit because seeing that I wouldn't have wanted to do this a year ago. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do it now, but I don't want to do it for different reasons. Okay. You know what I mean? So
a year ago you were hiding.
A little.
And now you are.
I could say the cheesiest thing, but I'm not. Like, what?
Say it.
Like it's. And I'm not.
Okay.
This doesn't go away. This is like flying in cyberspace.
Yeah.
All right.
So we don't have to say. So you have a almost 8-year-old son now.
Yes, I do, George.
Mm-hmm. You are a busy professional mother who's starting all of these different things. You have the networking group. You have your sobriety.
Yeah.
You're managing a lot.
Yes.
In a not so vast amount of time. How are you managing your time? Because I'm asking selfishly here for myself.
Yeah.
That's something that I struggle with is oftentimes when I focus on one thing, whether it's growing the business or I go into a season of really pushing and grinding, other things fall off. Relationships, family. I'm a soon-to-be father.
It's awesome.
And so one of the things that I value most in life is my family. And I want to be there for my children, but I also want to grow this business. So my children and my wife as well. I want to be able to spend time with them. And what I've seen is that when I go full in on the business and I go into that season of like, all right, it's grind time.
You shut off the family aspect.
I mean, that certain things have to go by the wayside, whether it's the gym or family time or friends on the weekends.
Yep.
How do you balance those things?
I don't.
Okay.
I absolutely do not balance a damn thing in my life. It's, like I said, day by day. And that is the one thing that applies to, I think, everything. My son is almost 8 and he reminds me of things, and that's like, okay when they're little things. I have Post-its all over my house. Like it's wallpaper, and these things help me. And I have my motivational quotes, Post-its everywhere. And I fake it till I make it. I really fake it till I make it, and it works out. I have the doctors. I have my ex-husband. The co-parenting is phenomenal.
That's
so
good. It's not always that way.
It's not, and it took a while to get there, but we made it, and we want to do it for George. So I have help, but going to the gym. Shout out to F45 and Hop Hog.
Nice.
Going to F45, spin, friends, family, it's, you have to stuff it into like that 8 hours, and whatever falls off. And then, because I used to beat myself up, you didn't get to the gym in 3 days. All right, what'd you do?
What are your priorities? So I think that's an interesting way to look at it. Is there something that you prioritize more over anything? Like, is it George over anything, and then everything else that falls off is just it's work or it's the gym?
Yes, 100%. It's George. And I think that's another reason why the path that I'm on now, or have been trying to get on for a while now, is I have to accommodate going to his school activities. I was actually a field trip person. What do you call it? A chaperone?
A chaperone, yeah.
That was the mommest thing I think I've ever done, and it was the coolest thing I've ever done.
What did you chaperone?
We went to some Smithtown historical thing, and it was fun. So I want him to see me there. So I needed a job that gave me the flexibility to do it. So it kind of like everything falls in line. It's like a domino effect, I do have a funny story, but I had a boss, not naming anybody, but I've always been in sales. So I sold widgets, I sold that, I sold this, whatever. And I think this boss was very blunt with me. He said, selling this product is not your forte. And that kind of burned because I was like one of the top salespeople in the office. I just think there were other things going on, whatever it may be. And he goes, Carrie, you should be a professional networker. And this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I wasn't like insulted, but then now that I look back, I'm like, he wasn't wrong. Like my strengths. So I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and I wholeheartedly admit all of them. But I think going back to what you were saying about prioritizing is a weakness. Managing my time is a complete weakness. So that's why I just let it go and I just flow. Just go. And like I said, George is priority. And then everything else that falls into place. So
you strike me as someone who's 100, always going 100% at whatever's in front of them.
Yes.
So
yes,
that could switch at a moment's notice, it seems like, from what you're saying. But when you're very present in that thing, for an S&P meeting, it's I'm here for this. And then you might get a phone call from George. You got to pick him up from school. Okay,
that throws me off, and then I'm screwed.
But then you're 100% on that. It's just gotta get up and go.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think
that's right.
That can be. It can be a stressful way to live, but it can also be a really great way to live.
It's pretty comical too, because I was working on something for SNP, and my head was in my computer, and oh God, I hope CPS doesn't come after me, but no, George says, "Mom, dinner?" with a question mark.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? It was
right.
7 o'clock.
I have to do that
I'm like,
now.
oh God, all right. Elio's or Chef Boyardee, what do you want, my friend? But he gets fed. The kid gets fed. So, but it's like tunnel vision. I have tunnel vision. And then, but I can kind of flip-flop if I have to.
So I don't have tunnel vision. Maybe that's a weakness of mine, is the ability to focus on the thing in front of me rather than the distraction or the thing that's happening that maybe I want to be doing. So that can be a really useful tool if you can harness it. And it sounds like
unless your kid gets fed, you're all good.
Well, yeah, but you feed your kid and he's fine. He's resilient.
Exactly.
He'll be fine. My aunt growing up, one of her kids ate like some dirt.
Nice.
And she went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Kids eat dirt, they'll be fine. Unless he eats a pound of dirt, then bring him back."
Right, exactly.
And so, like, kids are resilient.
They'll
figure it out.
I count on George to be very resilient. But prioritizing things is tunnel vision is good, but I get locked in. But I can switch on a dime. I have no choice. Nobody does, so it's how you do it. But I fake it till I make it.
Well, you mentioned Post-it notes. Are there any other tools that you use to, I guess, to rein yourself in?
Nope, Post-it notes.
Post-it notes.
Post-it notes. Do I get like some kind of hashtag Post-it notes?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll give you a stack of Post-it notes when you leave as your sponsorship payment.
I appreciate that.
To Post-it notes.
I appreciate you.
Sponsor us, Post-it.
That's what I was going at. No, but yeah, so Post-it notes, really, because I need stuff right in front of my face. Mm-hmm. Everyone in this day and age, they put stuff in their phone calendar? No. Because either I won't set the alarm or I just won't look at it. I need it right in my face, and I need to write things down. Like you have your little book. My book's like gigantic.
I have my notes of the questions I want to ask you, of which I've asked one.
Oh, really? Sorry.
But it's good.
Derailing.
No, it's good. I'm trying to find ways to bring it back here, but also I don't want to.
Okay. But yeah, so Post-it notes. It's really it. It's old school, but it works for me. So
That's good. I mean, everyone needs a system that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to find the right system for me, and I think I found it in my calendar.
in your phone.
It's just my calendar. It's connected to everything. So it's my Google Calendar, it's my business calendar, but it's my personal calendar as well.
But it's on your phone.
It's on my phone, it's on my computer.
I know.
When I open up the computer in the morning, I open up the same 4 tabs every morning, and one of them is my calendar, and it just lives there in the corner all day long, and I have to stick to it.
All right, then teach me that.
I don't know if I can teach you that.
What do you mean?
I don't know if it'll work for you. It seems like you've got your system down.
I do, but I'm always open to new ideas.
All right, I'll show you.
All right, fair enough.
So let's bring it back to networking.
Okay, yes.
You mentioned at the beginning mistakes. You know how it works. You know
yes.
how to work networking for the benefit of yourself, but for the benefit of others as well. What are some of those networking mistakes that you see people making?
I think a lot of people think if you join a group, you attend the meetings, that suffices or that's sufficient enough. You have to do the uncomfortable. You have to go to that Christmas party. You have to go to, that diner meeting in the morning. They're terrible. I'm not saying mine are exciting either, or SMPs are that exciting, but you have to go. You have to show face. A lot of people just go to the meetings, skip the events, possibly, or go to the events and they're wallflowers. Like, you have to. Networking only works if you do something. It's like, that's the point of SMP. Like, we're bringing you these beautiful events. Get in there.
So I'm a new member of S&P, right? But this is a hypothetical.
Yeah.
If I'm a new member and I come to whatever event is going on in February, and I'm a guy I'm there, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm going to go. And then I get there and I'm just kind of that wallflower. What's like one action that person can take in order to get more out of the event?
Just turn to your left or your right and talk to that person. Because you don't even know who that
About
is.
what? What do I ask? What
Not
do I say?
work related.
Okay.
Because I just think, we know what we want out of the networking, but we need to get on a personal level. So I never start out with work stuff. I don't even end with work stuff. I just professionally enter. So I just go and yap away.
Okay.
And I think that's what you just have to do. That's the one move. Like I said, if I didn't come here today, I wouldn't have met David from Husky's Build and Design. Their new logo.
Yeah.
So every action, everything you do, like, so many things have happened to me at events that I did not even want to go to. I was dreading, and I just go, and I'm like, thank God I went, because I got this connection, I made this. Just turn to one person, and that one person knows one person. So that's just how it goes. And I know that sometimes being around people you don't know, or an environment that you're uncomfortable with, like, that's where I always say, just, who gives a fuck? Am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah.
Oh. Who gives a fuck? Just, nobody cares that much about, you're too focused on yourself. Just talk to somebody, and it's not, it's much easier said than done. I understand that.
That's why I was asking very specifically.
But if you're in business,
what do I say?
Yeah,
right? If I'm the guy who has
Yeah.
no idea how to start a conversation, I feel awkward, I feel uncomfortable. You know why I'm there. I'm there to get your business. What do I say? What are the what's
like
the,
an opening line
what's the sentence
to the person to the left
Yeah.
of me? I mean, something as simple as, oh, where'd you find parking? Did you park in the front? Did you park in the back? Or have you been to one of their events before? Something as simple as that. And then that's like an hour conversation. And then you're like 2 drinks later, you guys are like, buddies.
Yeah.
Or, and I think you just got to close your eyes and jump and not think about it.
So I'll give you a story. A couple weeks ago, my buddy TJ invited me to a networking group in the city.
Okay.
So drove into the city, went to this group, and we're standing around talking. Met this really cool guy who does some like medical tech stuff, and we're just having a great conversation. And out of nowhere, this girl, she must have been like 24, 25, super nervous to be networking in the first place. She's just looking for a job. She doesn't have a company or
Right.
anything that she's representing.
That's brave.
She's just there to meet people.
Brave.
Very brave, right? And there's 4 men standing in a circle, and she just came right up
Yeah.
and said, she said out loud, "I'm in this conversation now."
It's amazing.
And I was like,
Who is she? Can you introduce her to me?
I don't even know
Oh.
her name. I'm sorry that I can't remember her name. She didn't have anything. I couldn't give her anything. I couldn't help her with what she was looking
Right.
for. She was looking for a very specific.
Right, but we're talking about her right now, and I
Right.
think that's the whole purpose.
But I said in the moment, like, all right, that was awkward and weird, but she did it. Yeah. And I understand, like, I've been in those scenarios where, like, I felt awkward standing outside a conversation.
Well,
How do I join? So, like,
right.
I don't know. If she could just jump in and say, I'm part of this conversation now.
She's already a salesperson right there.
Yeah.
She's not afraid. And I think there's another aspect that why I feel that's impressive to me. Mm-hmm. Because as a woman,
it's ballsy.
It's sick. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, listen, there's plenty of business women, entrepreneurs, women. But, I've been in networking groups where it's 90% men. Mm. And to get up and speak and, interject like she did into that conversation, it's brave. Because there's no stereotypes, but there's underlying things. You know what I mean?
Certain business groups can become boys' clubs.
Boys' clubs, men's club, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's why when I look at women that are, boss babes and like doing their thing, it's like, it's amazing because we do have that.
That's you, Carrie.
I know. I still can't believe that, which just blows my mind. But yeah, what she did was brave, and I think that's what you need. Just need bravery. I know it sounds cheesy, but you do, because one conversation can really change your life.
So I want to follow this line still. Mm-hmm. So now we're in conversation. I broke the ice.
Yep.
What should be my goal with this conversation? How should I approach it?
I always say keep it personal. Keep it, and that's another brave thing that people don't always do. I told you my life's like pretty much an open book. Not everyone's built that way. But then sometimes you got to think, is this the right career for me? If you're not comfortable just being, out there. I like to go. When I go to a networking event, I like to not talk about work.
Okay.
I want to talk about work at Gregory's Coffee in Melville, right? Mm-hmm. When I go there and meet them next Wednesday or something like that. I want to keep it just light and.
So is your goal to get to know more people and then have those one-on-one conversations at a later date?
Yes, absolutely. Because they're not going to really remember what I do for my job, but they will remember if I tell them that, I used to play roller derby.
Did you?
I did.
That's cool.
Yes.
Where?
God, this was like, whatever years ago.
10 years ago. 5 years ago.
Beth Page. I was on the Long Island Roller Rebels.
Okay.
Yes. A lifetime ago. It was pretty amazing.
3 months ago.
Not even 3. I did go to a bout the other day, and it just wanted me to start doing it all over again, but I can't. No.
Did they ever do that at United Skates?
Yep. I had practice at United Skates of America.
That was like my whole childhood at United Skates.
So, I don't even know what I was saying. What were we talking about?
We're getting to
right. So they'll
one-on-one
remember
meeting.
that because I also, like I said, just talk. Whether this person's interested or not, they'll find out things about me that they'll remember. So I want to give a good impression. I want to give an impression at all. Mm-hmm. So who wants to hear about my boring work? Like we're having a drink, we're hanging out, So I think that is something that is my main focus, just get to know somebody. And I made so many good friends through networking, like family. Mm-hmm. So they don't like me because I am a good salesperson or a good saleswoman. They like me because I played roller derby, or my son. I like to always talk about George. So those are the things I remember.
So to recap.
Yeah.
Get in the conversation. Just get off the wall and talk to somebody.
Doesn't matter who.
Don't feel like you have to sell them on something in that moment.
Right.
In fact, I would say don't sell them on something in that moment because they'll probably not like you for that.
110%.
Get to know them on a personal level. Mm-hmm. Get to a one-on-one conversation at a later date, at another time. If you see there's some way that you can bring value to them, that they can bring maybe some value to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems pretty straightforward and clear.
And it's more fun. It's more fun to get to know somebody on that level, and then you can make that decision for yourself if you want to do business with them. Because not everybody's made to do business with each other, so.
So we're coming up on the end.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got one question for you.
Okay.
Which I've changed the way I phrase the question over the last 6 months. I've changed it, but still the same concept.
Okay.
Which is, if there's one thing that someone who's watching this video, maybe a business owner, should read, watch, or listen to that made an impact in your life that you think could make an impact on theirs, what would you recommend?
Read, watch, or listen.
Yeah, so like a book. It could be a YouTube video that's 5 minutes long. It could be a audiobook or anything, a podcast.
So, The Go-Giver
I
is
just read it.
an amazing book, and it's really short, so you'll finish it 1, 2, 3. It is short, powerful, and sweet. It's basically what SMP is. We are giving, not expecting anything in return, but we always do in the end. You know, I don't remember the author.
Bob Berg.
I
Is
couldn't
that
even
it?
tell you if you're right or
I'm
wrong.
connected with him on LinkedIn.
Bob Bird?
Berg. B-U-R-G, I think.
Okay.
So I made a post on LinkedIn 6 months ago, 4 or 5 maybe months ago, where I mentioned something that I learned from that book.
Yeah, it's great.
And somebody commented on it who happened to be connected to him, and he saw it and he commented.
Really?
Yeah, the author of the book.
So Bob,
who does a bunch of like leadership stuff. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Sorry
Okay.
if I'm getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Bob
But
Berg.
The Go-Giver, I highly recommend
And he sent me a
it.
message and he was like, "Hey, that's really cool. Thank you."
That's awesome. Maybe you'll hear it now.
Right.
But it's such a tiny book, but such a big impact. Because I read it 5 years ago and I just keep thinking about it. You know, it's something that I live by. It's like, you know, your code of conduct. Like, it's in networking. Give, don't expect anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll get if you do it right. That just it sums it up a little bit, right?
Yep. The way that I've been approaching networking recently that's changed the game for me is I'm always thinking about how can I help this person in front of me. And that person 99 times out of 100 at the end is like, I was just talking about myself for 15 minutes. What about you? Because now they're genuinely interested because you showed an interest in helping them.
Yep.
There's some power in that, and I think
There's a lot of power in that.
that can go back to The Go-Giver as well.
Yeah. Such a good book.
It's a great book.
And it will take you no time to read it. Just
I think I did it in a day.
right? You could do it in a day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was that one book.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that one. Where can people find you? Where can people find SMP?
www.suffolknetworkingpros.com. Just head there. We have bios on all the members, our events to be, past events, pictures. That's really it.
If someone wants to get involved, how should they get involved?
SuffolkNetworkingPros.com. Fill out the little form at the bottom.
Cool.
Or text me when you get on the website and we'll chat.
Nice.
Well, no, we're not going to text. We're going to meet.
Yeah, call her.
Yes, SMP.
Cool. Thank you, Carrie.
All right, you got it, Steve. Thank you for having me.